Hello tacticians, he is nearly here. Dante, the chapter master of the Blood Angels, the Lord of Angels, the bringer of Sanguinius' light, the Lord Regent of the Imperium Nihilus. And as you'd expect with someone with that many titles, he has earned them. Oh my word, he is very good. As always, thank you to everyone who supports the channel, whether it's through subscribing or using my friend code, as it really does help me out. And now, let's get stuck in to Dante, who at a mere 1500 standard years old, definitely not a vampire like the rest of the Blood Angels. Let's start with the traits. First off, he can deep strike, meaning in the first turn he can appear anywhere on the battlefield. Although depending where you're using him, he probably doesn't want to be too far away from his pals. He has Final Vengeance, which means if the enemy does manage to kill him, he's going to have one last chop with that big axe of his. He has Flying, so that's a movement of 4 flying, pretty much getting him anywhere on the battlefield, and if that movement of 4 wasn't enough, the Rapid Assault actually makes it movement 5 and gives him that 25% extra damage in that first round of combat. And finally, he is Terrifying. That death mask of his isn't just a pretty face, in fact it probably isn't pretty at all, which means he's going to take less damage when they try and hit him in melee. So I think your answer to this guy is shoot him, and shoot him a lot. So all the traits combined really make this guy a close combat beast. And we haven't even got stuck in to his abilities yet. So now let's have a look at them. As always, I like to give a bit of a breakdown at the various points you may use Dante at. And of course, this shows all of his skills as they increase. Starting with the Light of Sanguinius, if Dante has not moved, he gains Infiltrate until the end of his turn and then charges an enemy target that has a free adjacent hex within movement range of 5. I think Matenio must have got his skills from this guy. He will then deal 5 lots of melter damage to it. The target and enemy units surrounding it deal less damage for 1 round. This effect is then doubled if they attack a friendly unit that are at or below 50% health. So, whenever you come to using Dante and Matenio as a pair, which I'm guessing many people will, Dante will charge in first. And this really is doubled down on the Lord of the Host, where other friendly units within 2 hexes with Rapid Assault or Flying deal additional damage with their melee attacks. Affected units that are at or again below 50% health also score an additional hit. So you can see Dante really does buff virtually everyone else in the Blood Angels, especially if Nicodemus is close hand to use his Blood Chalice on them. So if you didn't like the Blood Angels before, you're really going to hate them now. Or on the flip side, if you loved them before, man, this guy makes them good. But enough talking, let's see them in action. For all new characters, the one thing I always like to do is, can they take an Overwatch shot from Calandis? So let's move up. Well, that's not what I was expecting. I was hoping he'd have at least a sliver of health left, but no, it looks like Calandis has other ideas for the latest Golden Boy. So, thankfully, Dante has got a way of getting around those sniper shots because of his Light of Sanguinius active ability, which will give him Infiltrate, and he can charge an enemy within range 5 and do melter damage to them. Also, that enemy and enemies surrounding it will deal 25% less damage for 1 round, but that's doubled if they attack a friendly unit that is at or below 50% health. So if we trigger the Light of Sanguinius and just target Maladus here, and the reason I've done that is I actually want Calandis free to do an Overwatch shot against Swordbrother Godswill. And we're going to charge Godswill in. There's the Overwatch shot. And now Godswill is below 50% health. Why have I wanted this? Well, if we look at Dante's passive ability, the Lord of the Host, other friendly units within 2 hexes with Rapid Assault, like Swordbrother Godswill, or Flying, will deal additional damage with melee attacks. Affected units that are also below 50% health will also receive +1 hit, and we can see that on Godswill. Here's the 2 hits, and if we click on the buff, we can see that he's got the additional hit here and the additional amount of damage. The importance of this is when you are charging into the enemy, what you want to do is lead the charge with Dante. as that will mean as the others move up, they will get his benefit. Now, obviously you could move others up first and not attack and then move Dante up. Really, the order is up to you. But you will want to make sure that Dante is there before you say launch Martenio's Hammer of Wrath, because this is a melee attack and therefore will benefit from the extra damage that Dante provides. So if we move everyone up, and let's just get rid of Calandis. The reason I've just done this is so we can move more freely in the next couple of turns. The other person is Brother Jaeger, and he's got his Martial Superiority, which is a melee attack, and has 2 hits. So if we were to go here with Maladus and attack, although quite frankly the amount of armour that Maladus has will mean that the attack does very little damage indeed. So we'll attack first, but we want to see what numbers come up. There was a block and 110, so there was 2 attacks that went in, but the 110 is showing that that damage has been buffed by Dante's ability. So those passive abilities which you get, such as Sword Brother Godswill or Martenio or Brother Jaeger here, they all benefit from Dante's Lord of the Host. So Dante is a major buff to all those characters with either flying or rapid assault, and I could easily see him being slotted into guild raids against the Avatar of Cain, who puts down a lot of fire. So you'll end up using those characters who've got flying against him and always get that additional damage buff. He is an absolutely fantastic character. Carrying on from this, going back to that Lord of the Host, given an extra attack, will it now give an extra attack to Brother Jaeger's passive? We can see in the buff that he now has an additional 1 melee hit. It's not reflected in the Martial Superiority, which is a melee attack, but if we now go in with Rayvas and attack, it's going to be interesting to see if we either get 2 numbers come up or 3. We're going to have to watch that back in slow motion to see how many numbers were from Brother Jaeger. So there we go, 1, 2, 3 numbers come up, which means his passive does indeed benefit. So there we have a very brief overview of Dante, and if you can unlock him, I think he is going to be an absolute beast in whichever mode you want to take him into. I can even see him being used in guild raids because of that buff to those with flying or rapid assault. But obviously there are going to be many people trying to figure out exactly the best place to use him. However, in things like Guild Wars, Tournament Arena, this guy is an absolute powerhouse, and as I said, if you can manage to unlock him, you are not going to be upset at all, and you should really level him to the max that you can. If you like these videos, then it would be much appreciated if you at least think about using my friend code, as it really does help me out. Or if you or your guilds are looking for a new home, please reach out to any of the guilds shown, as we'll always welcome new people into our midst. As always, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll be seeing you on the battlefield.